What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another Ark Insight, guys. And today, as you can most likely tell from pretty much the obvious, we are taking a look at the Rock Drake versus the MANAGARMR. Now, in terms of similarities, these two guys are probably the most similar to each other. I was trying to come up with another creature that the MANAGARMR could face, and honestly, I think the closest well, not the closest relative, but the closest kind of creature we could match it up against was the Rock Drake. So we're going to take a look at their stats, see exactly how much damage they do, and what else they're able to do. So guys, let's jump straight into it. Now, first off, what we're going to do, which we normally do, is we're going to take a look at their base stats. Now, as you guys can see, these guys are level 1. You can see up here, level 1. Now, the Rock Drake has a base health of 900, a base stamina of 450, a base weight of 400, and a base melee damage of 88.2%. Now, this isn't actually its melee damage. We'll get into that later. Now, we also don't worry about covering food or oxygen because it's really not that important. So, guys, we've got the Rock Drake here, and his stats are, decent. He is a level 1. I don't think it's actually physically possible to get any of these creatures at level 1 unless you're playing at like the minimum difficulty, which is like pretty much only single player, I think. Alright, so let's jump into the MANAGARMR. Now, the MANAGARMR has 825 health, which isn't too bad. That's only like 75 health less than the Rock Drake. He has 300 stamina, which is 100 stamina less than the Rock Drake as well. 300 weight, which I think is 100 less than the Rock Drake, and 125.8% melee damage. He also has an extra 58.5% movement speed on top of the Rock Drake. So that's pretty interesting. So in terms of stats, the MANAGARMR has a little bit more damage and movement speed, while the Rock Drake has a little bit more health, a little bit more stamina, and a little bit more weight over the MANAGARMR. So guys, now that we've covered their base stats, let's jump into their abilities. Now, the Rock Drake is still probably one of the best creatures you can get on Aberration, and he has a variety of abilities. One of those being his ability to glide. So once you pick up enough speed, you can actually glide across, and you've obviously got a bit of height. You can then also do like a dive bomb attack, I guess you could say, a charge attack, where you actually lock on to the location, and you pretty much just like, not plummet, but like charge towards it, I guess. You guys saw there previous iterations that we were able to just pretty much charge towards that direction that we were facing, where the crosshair was. Now, that is one of his go-to abilities when you want to traverse the map, because it's just great for covering a lot of distance. Now, as well as that, the Rock Drake also has the ability to go invisible. Now, you guys have probably seen all these abilities before. The Rock Drake's been in Ark for quite a bit of time. Now, while invisible, you are still targeted by turrets. However, obviously enemy players find it a little bit harder to see you, as well as enemy dinos. So it's a good ability to have. However, it does drain stamina while being invisible, so do take care while using it if you don't have enough stamina. Now, one more ability that the Rock Drake has is his ability to grapple onto pretty much any surface. So what we're going to do here, we're going to quickly glide, and we're going to jump straight up here. Now, you can see there that we are hanging upside down. So you can actually activate this ability by using that glide jump that you just saw there, or by actually right clicking or using your secondary attack. This actually enables the grip icon, I guess you could call it, in the top right hand corner. You can see up the top there, and that enables you to grip onto any surface. Now, when you're back onto flat level ground, you can simply deactivate it and you won't use as much stamina. You can know that you're activating it because he'll do that little head movement where he's just constantly looking up, looking like a bit of a dweeb for half the time. So you'll know that it's activated by that, as well as the icon in the top right hand corner. Now, one final ability that doesn't really apply to any other map except for Aberration is that he's able to actually sense Reaper Queens. So when his feathers stand up on his head, that means that there is a Reaper Queen nearby, and you should probably take a little bit of caution. So guys, let's move on to the MANAGARMR's abilities. Now, the MANAGARMR is one of the newest additions to Ark from the Extinction map. Now, this guy has quite a lot of abilities. His first one is his Ice Breath. You can see a little crosshair on the screen right now. You're actually able to trigger a Frost Breath. Now, this Frost Breath has quite a lot of range on it. It is ridiculously long, and it's great. I think they actually might have nerfed it in a recent patch by the time I'm making this video, because I did hear that they were going to nerf it. Now, this Frost Breath does deal damage to dinos. It also freezes them in their tracks for a short bit of time. just trying to find a test subject that we can actually show this to you guys on. Now, with this Frost Breath, it is possible to kill enemy dinos that are protected by turrets, because the Frost Breath actually outranges the turrets. So we'll show you here on this Enforcer once we get some stamina back. Okay, so you can see the Enforcer there, and we're going to freeze him. Oh, there we go. You can see that he's frozen, and it does deal damage. So guys, that is one of the MANAGARMR's abilities, and now we're going to try getting attacked by the Enforcer. Alright, so the MANAGARMR's next ability is his ability to do like a rocket jump. You can see here we're able to jump in the air and propel ourselves. Now, while rocket jumping, you can actually propel yourself forward by pressing the forward button, and you actually do like a little bit of a glide, I guess you could call it, slash hover, where you kind of just hover in the air and you move forward. Now, from this, you can either do a rocket jump again and continuously press forward to gain a bit of distance. However, this does utilize quite a lot of stamina, so make sure you've got plenty of stamina on your MANAGARMR, otherwise it'll drain. You can see there we've got no stamina left. So you can only press forward once per rocket jump, so you have to rocket jump, forward, rocket jump again, and then forward. You can't double forward in one rocket jump. Now, once you're up in the air, you can actually do like a dive bomb attack where you plummet straight to the ground if you have enough stamina. So you can see here, you can jump and you can plummet down. Now, this actually allows you to gain quite a bit of distance if you're trying to traverse the map of Extinction, which is great because the MANAGARMR, aside from like Pteranodons and Tapiharas, are one of the best creatures that you can use to navigate through Extinction because of their rocket jump. And they are slightly faster than the flyers, they just need to have enough stamina. But other than that, that's pretty much all there is for the MANAGARMR's abilities. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to take a look at their movement speed and see who exactly is the fastest. So for this, we're going to set up a little bit of a course. We're going to get our Rock Drake to follow us. Don't you fall off the edge, you sucker. Okay, good. He didn't fall off the edge. So what we're going to do, we're going to race these guys from this point on the map to the first bridge point. So what we're going to do, we're going to line them all up, and then we'll get them all ready, and we'll bring you guys back for the race. Alrighty, so they're all lined up. You can see here we're kind of half in the wall. They're in line with each other. So what we're going to do, we're going to race to the second bridge point, and we're going to see who exactly is the fastest. So guys, here we go. Let's keep an eye on the time, and let's begin. Alright, so the Rock Drake's away. He's actually pretty slow. I think the MANAGARMR might actually win this one. So we're going to keep racing here, keep going. Boom, there we go. Alright, so it was about 9 seconds for the Rock Drake to reach this point, which is pretty slow, honestly. I was expecting him to be faster than the MANAGARMR. However, the stamina usage on the Rock Drake is actually really good. You can see up in the top right hand corner that the stamina isn't depleting too fast. It's only really depleting when we decide to glide. So in terms of stamina usage and sprinting, it's actually pretty good. Alright, let's get back and test the MANAGARMR. Alrighty, so we're on the MANAGARMR. There we go, you can kind of see now. And I'm guaranteeing you he's going to be faster than the Rock Drake. So let's go. Okay, so yeah, so much faster. So he managed to do that in about 7 seconds. So that was a lot faster than the Rock Drake. And his stamina usage, however, is slightly worse than the Rock Drake. You can see there that while sprinting, it depletes at a pretty fast rate. So that's not a good thing. That's something that you want to kind of fix on the MANAGARMRs. The stamina isn't really all that great, which is a bit unfortunate. Alrighty, so next up we're going to take a look at who swims faster in the water. Both are actually pretty good swimmers. The Rock Drake I've seen is, for a Drake, like a Wyvern sort of dude, he's actually pretty fast in the water. He's a decent swimmer and, you know, there's not really much else to say about it. He can navigate the terrain pretty well. I mean, obviously you can get better swimmers, but the option is there if you want to go about using him to swim. And he can also jump out of the water as well and grapple onto stuff, which also is a big help. So the MANAGARMR as well is much better swimmer than the Rock Drake. So in terms of movement, the MANAGARMR is definitely your go-to for movement. Oh my god, look at him use his little sails as flippers. That's actually pretty cool. So yeah, so the MANAGARMR is obviously your best mount for movement between the two, I would say. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to say that their movement speed in the air is pretty much the same. The MANAGARMR is going to be faster than the Rock Drake. We'll show you guys quickly now once we get out of the water from our drowning MANAGARMR. Okay, so we've got infinite stats on currently with our MANAGARMR, and we're just going to show you guys his movement abilities. So you can see there you're able to rocket jump. Now you can propel yourself forward, or you can actually do it more. No, you can't. No, never mind. So they must have changed it. Before you could only do one propulsion forward before you actually had to rocket jump again, but it looks like it's changed to infinitely. You just have to make sure that you have enough stamina. Okay, so that's pretty good. So I didn't actually know that. So they've actually changed it. Before you have to do it once and you could rocket jump again and then you do it. Now, in terms of movement across the map, the MANAGARMR is honestly going to be your best bet. You can do that dive ability, and once you've finished or you've reached the pinnacle of it, you can actually just rocket jump again and continue doing it. Now, you do need to ensure that you have enough stamina, like I said, otherwise it will not work. So guys, my money is definitely on the MANAGARMR being faster. The Rock Drake has the glide ability, where if you do it from a high terrain point, you'll actually be sweet. But if you're not doing it from like a high terrain point and you're kind of just doing it from ground level, then you're going to be in a bit of a pickle and, and you're not actually going to be able to glide all that much. So for example, we'll jump off here because this looks like a good spot to jump. So there we go. You can see there and boom. So he is able to glide fast, but the MANAGARMR is faster. However, in terms of stamina usage, that's another thing, because the MANAGARMR's stamina gets depleted very quickly while doing his rocket jumps, while the Rock Drake has a lot of stamina and that extra ability. All in all, I would say it comes down to your personal preference in what you want to use to traverse the maps. Obviously, you can't use the Rock Drake on Extinction at the moment, but you can use the MANAGARMR on other maps. So it's up to you and your personal preference in what you actually want to use to traverse the maps. Alrighty guys, so next up we've got their melee damage. Now, as you can see here, we're able to hit 50, that T-Rex just hit 902 damage on that here. So as you can see here, the Rock Drake's primary attack hits for 52 damage, which is a decent amount of damage. Like, he's only level 1, you've got to take that into consideration as well. Now, that is his only attack, unfortunately, so he can't really do much other than that. We're going to activate infinite stats here before this race kills us. Alright. So, yeah, 52 damage is how much damage he does at level 1 with his base melee damage. Now, you can also use his dive attack as an attack, but it does deal damage as well. So what you're going to do is activate it, and you're going to aim your crosshairs at a dino, and you can see there it does 30 damage. It's not as powerful as his regular primary attacks, but it does still do damage. So if you are like flying around and stuff and you need to do damage, you can do it by using that attack, and it only deals 30 damage. Now, obviously this is going to scale with higher level dudes, so the higher level your guy is, the more melee damage he's going to have. And the more points you put into it, the more melee damage he's going to have. So guys, that is the Rock Drake's melee damage. Let's move on to the MANAGARMR's. Okay, so the MANAGARMR's attacks at level 1 deal really not much damage. So you can see there, our Ice Beam, it's kind of dependent on what you're hitting. Maybe it's because we're attacking in front of him. There we go. So you can see that at level 1, his Ice Beam does 3 damage, which, you know, is a decent amount of damage. You know, it's solid. You don't really want to use it for the damage. You just want to use it for the ability to freeze. Now, his basic melee attack, which is his only a melee attack, it does 44 damage. So even though he's got that extra higher percentage over the Rock Drake, he actually deals less base damage, which is surprising. I would have thought he actually hit more than the Rock Drake. So he only does 54 damage with his primary attacks, which are his only attacks. You can see there, he's got different styles, but they all do the same amount of damage. Now, his dive bomb attack actually does damage as well. So you can see there, it does very little damage, but the damage is there, I assure you. So it's not really used for dealing damage, it's kind of just used to harass your victims. You can see there, it's only dealing like 1 damage to the trikes. They are mate boosted, but I assure you this Parasol will probably take like 1 damage as well. 2 damage, sorry, I stand corrected. So yeah, the dive ability isn't really your go-to for attacking. The MANAGARMR, in all honesty, is probably better off suited to just traversing the terrain. He's not a really great combat mount, to be honest. You could pump up his melee damage a little bit, but you'd still be lacking in terms of damage. Alrighty guys, so we've pretty much covered everything on the list. Now we're going to go about putting these guys in a battle to the death. Oh, before we do that, we're actually going to cover their saddles. So the Rock Drake saddle is learnable at... Let me get it up for you guys. Is that learnable at level 75, and to craft it you need 225 fiber, 350 hide, 125 metal ingots, and 85 red gems. So the red gems are a little bit difficult to come by, but once you figure out how to get them, they're really easy to get. Now, the MANAGARMR has a lower saddle level at level 66, and his saddle is significantly easier to craft, with 150 chitin or keratin, 185 fiber, and 350 hide. So guys, that's their saddles. Let's move on to the battle to the death. So they're all set up and ready to go. The MANAGARMR is currently claimed by us, while the Rock Drake is unclaimed. The reason being because the Rock Drake has the higher health and the higher melee damage. So we're going to see how this plays out. My money is on the Rock Drake winning. So guys, here we go. Let's see how they battle to the death. Now the reason we've set it up here is because the MANAGARMR likes to hop around everywhere. We'll activate that so you guys can actually see their damage. The Rock Drake does attack slightly slower than the MANAGARMR. However, the Rock Drake has more health, and I feel like that MANAGARMR is probably going to lose this battle. He's going to keep doing his jump attacks, which, oh wow, that actually did a decent amount of damage, but now they're running around in circles. I think this is going to be the Rock Drake's victory. We'll find out. I mean, maybe the MANAGARMR is getting a couple more hits in on top of the Rock Drake. Oh, what's he doing? That's one of the most annoying things about the MANAGARMRs. When they're wild, they do that non-stop. Okay, we're missing the fight now. We need to get over there. Okay, here we go. So it looks like the Rock Drake may have the MANAGARMR pinned. Oh my god, it looks like the Rock Drake might actually lose this. Okay. Hold on, this is going to be really close, guys. Oh, he might finish him with his dive bomb attack. Nope, now they've gone off the edge. Oh god, alright, we need to get down there quick. My money is still on the Rock Drake. I still think the Rock Drake will. No! Oh crap, okay, so the MANAGARMR actually killed the Rock Drake. I guess the diving attacks and just the speed of the MANAGARMR's extra attacks actually enabled it to kill it. So, no wait, never mind, I stand corrected. The Rock Drake was the victor, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, I stood mistaken. So the Rock Drake just won. 2 more hits from the MANAGARMR and the Rock Drake would have lost that battle. Let's take a look, here we go. So you can see he's on 63.2 health. So in the end, the Rock Drake's extra health and extra melee damage was enough to kill the MANAGARMR. It was a close battle. The Rock Drake almost lost that. I think if the MANAGARMR had hit him with a couple more dive bombs, the Rock Drake would have lost that. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like down below and subscribe for more. If you guys would like to see any particular dinos on these Ark Insights, let me know as well down below. But other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.